The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is David Palmer, the Leo King, and we are here live for Deep Astrology, your weekly astrology forecast for the week of January the 7th through the 13th of 2020. How's everybody doing today? We are here from highvibe.tv at the highvibe.tv studios here in Southern California. And have you joined highvibe.tv today to get all the exclusive content? Of course, my daily video horoscopes and so much more. Also, this show, Deep Astrology, is always exclusive for this is the most extreme time in the astrology world, and that's why we are here for you. And I just always want to put out there that High Vibe is always there for you and myself, whether it's just other videos or videos like this for the weekly horoscopes and so forth. You know, when times get crazy and when the most craziness is out there, I just want to let you all know from the bottom of my heart, I'm always there. And we are all here at High Vibe for you. And if you've never watched the show before, this is where we go, and I'm going to channel the astrology for this week for you. And then, of course, we're going to go deep into the charts, which are brought to you by Astro Gold, which you can get on iPhone, Android, and, of course, any of your Mac devices, but like computer-wise. And if you're on computer for PC, you got to go to Solar Fire. Make sure you check that out. And, of course, this is sponsored to you by the W Bros, which you can get awesome Zodiac apparel, especially when it comes to rings and necklaces. Sterling silver is what I wear with my Leo one. You can also get gold and you can get rose gold. Make sure you check it out. 10% of the proceeds go to help out people with anxiety and depression too. Really, and that's a big part of my life and what I've gone through, the anxiety part of it. So I just feel like it's so important, but it's such awesome jewelry, and especially coming into 2020, you're definitely going to want to wear it. It's awesome stuff. Make sure you check it out, thewbros.com, and of course, use my discount code LK10 at the checkout. Well, I don't know how to really approach this week because it's something that I've been talking about for years. And this show really has been, if I look at it, over the last 2 years of Deep Astrology, which has been a morphed show from so many different shows. But it's really about getting you to this week. You know, I'm sure you've heard in the astrology community and you heard from myself, January 12th, 2020. It's been like ringing in your head. And I was just like, Craig and I were having a little like closing ceremony. Like, I'm not going to have to say 2012 or January 12th, 2020 again. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a referred back to, so I'm probably going to say it as more of a reference point. But the approach has been a long one. It's been years. And this is the week of all weeks. I mean, it's like very hard to understand how to approach it because it's almost like you got to be watching astrologers and been following astrology for years to understand how momentous and how serious and how intense this week is in the astrology. We start off with, of course, the fact that it is a week with a lunar eclipse in Cancer, the natural sign, of course, for the moon, with the North Node. So, you know, Rahu, the North Node, and the moon are already not the best friends, right? It can be very harsh on the emotional front. But we got this sun in Capricorn that is loaded this week, loaded to the highest degree we've ever seen in our lives. Because of the fact that Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn and it is going to conjunct Pluto and pass Pluto. Last time we saw anything like this happen was in 1983 with it in the sign of Libra. But in Capricorn, this is where Saturn is the ruler. So it's really extreme. And it's an extreme moment in our life to where it's going to be so extreme because the Sun, Saturn, and Pluto, and Mercury all meet at the exact same degree on the 11th coming into the 12th, that late night on the 11th and that early morning on the 12th. We're going to see all of it together. And this is also while this lunar eclipse on the 10th, on Friday, is going to be in exact opposition to Saturn and Pluto, and of course with the Sun and Mercury that's coming in there. So Mercury will be Cazini to the Sun. Mercury and the Sun exact in opposition of this lunar eclipse. And so this is bringing up the emotional front and the decisions in your life that are going to be confusing with Mercury there, trying to analytically understand things. And then you're having that Saturn and Pluto aspect, which is like really hard. The moon already, when it's in opposition to Saturn, is a difficult transit to be born under and to go through in your own life. And Pluto at the same time, because it's a confronting of very harsh decisions that are going to affect your emotional world and very intense transformations and forcing you to go deep and forcing you to go into your truth. And then you add to all that the Sun by itself, just when it conjuncts Saturn, especially in Capricorn, which we only get for a couple years out of a 30-year transit. You know, it's not like we just keep banging Sun and Saturn, but you know what? We did get it. 2018, we did get it in 2019, and we got it in 2020. So this will be the last time we see the Sun and Saturn in Capricorn for the next 30 years, and it's this week. And then you're having it with Pluto at the exact time that they're finally meeting, and the last time Saturn and Pluto met was in 500 years ago. So you got to remember that just the Sun and Saturn conjunction is already something that as an astrologer you'd be like, this is a tough week. Then you add a Sun conjunct Pluto. Oh wait, that's already been something that, you know, we've never combined together, especially in Capricorn. No astrologer since the 1500s, 1517, has ever been able to just be like, oh yeah, so this week you're going to be dealing, and remember back then they didn't even know about Pluto. So you got to remember that this is just one of those weeks where it's like you're already dealing with lunar eclipse energy with the natural zodiac sign of Cancer, with the moon, the natural home of that, with Rahu there. That's already, you know, confrontational, emotionally, and having to deal with all this Capricorn. And then of course, you're dealing with the Sun conjunct Saturn, the Sun conjunct Pluto at the same time as they meet for the first time in 500 years in Capricorn. And Saturn is at its dignified position here. It's super strong. And it's ruling all the planets, right? It's ruling everything. Like if you look around, it's just Saturn and Neptune ruling their own homes right now. It's not like, you know, you go anywhere else and you're just seeing this rulership. No, you're not. So Saturn's king right now, and he's got Pluto working for him, and he's like telling Pluto what to do. And then on top of that, Jupiter is in its fall position, and it's in Capricorn, conjunct the South Node through this whole transit this week. And that is bringing up our belief systems about the way that we think the world's going to look. And of course, with ever K2 and with ever the South Node, there's this illusionary aspect. So this is where people think of bad luck. Oh my God, the world, it's all bad luck. This is all going bad. This is where people freak out. Sun conjunct Saturn and Pluto is already the most intense freak out of your life, and you cannot let this fear into your life anymore. You got to see that this is where we all got to make a giant leap forward out of fear and into. Saturn and Pluto is an integration point that is extreme. And it's the integration point of you stepping up. You stepping up into the ladder of your life to go to a better place in your life, because while all this is going down on Friday with the lunar eclipse and with all these conjunction points and all these planets that are all in this little zone, Uranus turns direct. Bop! And all the planets will be direct coming into this eclipse, coming into the Saturn-Pluto conjunction with the Sun and Mercury all at the same time. All within a 48-hour period that is going to be, on the Richter scales, if it was an earthquake, it would be over 10.0. Over. But instead of looking at this as something to be scared of, you got to look at this as this is the most empowering moment of your life to make the choices that you're going to make. Inner authority. Pluto is inner transformation, and with Saturn, it is the inner authority in your life that you got to take this world seriously. But what do you do with it? With Mars and Sagittarius, there's this whole entire, getting that courage is about your beliefs. And if you look at Chiron and Aries, Mars, wherever it's going, is going to kind of play the tune of Chiron and Aries. So this whole Chiron and Aries is this deep vulnerability when it comes to our courage and our confidence that's wounding us really intensely. And you add this to Mars and Sag, well, guess what? This whole idea of taking this new adventure in your life and being positive, it's like, I don't want to take that adventure. I don't want to expand my life. I'm too scared. Look at the way that this all looks and look at how hard that emotional decision is going to mean. That's where you miss out. That's where you miss out. And I know that might sound hard. I know it might be like, oh my gosh, what do you mean miss out? Well, the missing out part is this lunar eclipse with the moon and with especially Uranus turning direct at that same time is a better world. Taurus and Cancer love each other, okay? This is where the moon loves to be in, both those signs. Now, Uranus doesn't like to be in both those signs. But Uranus is part of all this. And you got to remember that with Uranus turning direct in Taurus, it's activating that Taurus energy, okay? And Taurus is about understanding the real worth and, more importantly, the beauty of this world. That, yes, it seems crazy, especially when Uranus is in retrograde, nothing makes sense. It all starts to feel like, you know, just how it took us 2 hours to get this show just to go live with both streamings to work on the app and onto YouTube, which normally we've never had problems. But for some reason, it's like the craziest algorithm that we just had to do to just even make it work. Took 2 hours. I don't know how many times we reset that damn computer. But you got to remember that that's how you got to approach, look at the world right now, like, and the way that you look at your life. Like, gosh, this is going to be really weird. This is really different. And you got to realize that maybe the universe is doing that because it's one, to test your inner authority of stepping into a better life and realizing that comfort is where you got to go with this deep intuitive feeling, because this lunar eclipse is going to be in aspects to Neptune. And we've got the sun sextile Neptune this week. Right away, we got Mercury sextile Neptune. So we got this whole Neptunian energy, and this is really, especially as we're going to see Jupiter come here in the next, month or so with an actual nice aspect to Neptune. But you got to remember that all this Capricorn energy with the sextiles to Neptune and Pisces and these ruling houses, especially with Saturn being in there, and with Neptune being in its ruling house, there is this quest. And it's this deep inner knowing, this inner knowing of what you must do, where you must go. And remember that this is truly a week where you have to follow your inner knowing. You can't keep playing these old stories anymore or, going, I'm going to just push this off to the side a little bit longer in my life. Like, where it comes to this intuitive knowing. And Saturn and Pluto met last time in Libra. So it's like you have literally spent this last 37 years. 37. If you want to get real mathematical, like 36 and, I don't know, some change. But you've spent that much time understanding the dynamics of relationships, understanding the weird imbalances in the world, and having to also see where justice must be served and where you have felt that you have been given an unfair situation in life or somebody's done you wrong or whatever. This has been lessons about realignment into understanding that the roles we play with the relationships in our life are the key to our destiny. And this Mars and Sag is ready to go. It missed out on the whole party with Jupiter and Sag and Venus and Sag. Remember Jupiter and Venus that had conjuncted a couple months ago literally was at the end of 2019 there, November. You got to remember, like, that transit alone hadn't happened in the last time Jupiter was in Sag. It was 1996 when that happened. So there is so much that has been shown to us in the most beautiful forms, and this wall of fear in your life, in the world, in everything, you have to see that you have to realize that there is the opposite on that other side of that wall, which is love, which is beauty, which is the balance and the beauty you've waited your whole life for. But if you're going to continue to drop that beauty because you're afraid of the past coming back, because with all this Neptune energy, it's reminding you of the past energies to come back. It's reminding you of what has happened. And with Chiron being there, still at the beginning of Aries, the starting point of the whole astrology chart, the understanding of that 0 point, right? Like that whole identification of yourself feeling like, I don't know what's next. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I feel like I'm weird, or is this a weird situation? Or is this a weird thing? But there's this deep inner knowing, deep inside your heart, deep inside your soul, deep inside of every part of your being, that you came down here for this moment in this life right now. This is the biggest astrology week to ever happen in the history of astrology, period, as any modern astrologer could even figure out. You got to remember that when you start going backwards in time, really far back, thousands of years and stuff, the calendar systems are different. We're in a Gregorian calendar system. You start doing charts back and you start going to, past calendar systems, the zodiac is in different space. You might run the chart and be like, oh, my birthday at 200 AD. Huh. You got a Julian calendar system then, and then you'll see the zodiac in different spaces. You'll see your sun in different spaces and shit. You got to remember that it's not easy being an astrologer. It's not easy understanding all these time systems and compressing them and understanding on how they all connect and interwork. So that's the scary part about when you go backwards in time and you realize that the transits that right now we're having, to even find them, to even come back into this kind of space, we're talking about tens of thousands of years and understanding different calendar systems and times and trying to do a calendar system we use now that was not in effect back then. So when you take this all in, and you have to, as an astrologer, be like, I am looking at this from understanding the math, understanding the way the planets and the rotations work, and understanding what is these cycles that are happening. And for this to happen, and it's been something that now that we're in 2020, and as an astrologer for a decade, I can look back at all the conversations of the last decade I've had with astrologers around the world. And I can say that every astrologer that I have deeply been mentored by, best friends with, or really connected with, that do horoscopes, that understand the cycles of time, understand the effect on our human nature, our collective consciousness, and our galactic consciousness, you have to realize that all of them and all of us feel that this is the most intense astrology that we've ever seen in our lives. You cannot go around and find one person out there, except that they're just trying to be, the devil's advocate in the room, just because that's going to feed their ego, that this is the most intense time of our lives, and it's happening right now, and you're starting to see it, and it's unveiling itself. And it's revealed. And this is where you got to know your magic, and you can't let this idea of the past, as you are coming into a complete new storyline right now, because the second that Saturn crosses Pluto, it now is in front of Pluto, and they're not going to meet again in Capricorn. They're not. It's not going to be like 1982 and 1983 where we saw this Saturn Pluto, jumping back and forth, especially with Pluto and Saturn that were going back and forth into Scorpio and Libra. It was like both of them had a little bit of a, oh, let's go in here. No, let's go back there. Let's do this shit. No, that shit ain't happening. Sure, it's happening with Saturn this year, coming into Aquarius and then coming back into Capricorn, but Pluto won't make it that far up. So you got to remember that this is a moment in time. And this is testing your true grit. I don't think that there's a coincidence that if you look at the life of, let's say, Clint Eastwood, it's like, how is that motherfucker still doing movies in his 90s and he's fucking killing it? You know what I mean? And he's fucking owning that shit. There's something about his role, there's something about his persona that you have to look at all this Capricorn like. That true grit inside of himself of whether you call that John Wayne or whatever you want to do, Capricorn is not for the weak, unfortunately. Even though it does get associated with weak energy sometimes, right? Old age and so forth. But there's that wisdom that comes with that age of how to manage life, how to deal with things. And this is where you have to put the lock on your emotional world and be like, am I going to put my life and my destiny in a place where I'm just comfortable, but I'm missing out on my true feelings of where I should be in my life? Relationships are the number one thing because the ending of the cycle is finally here since 82 and 83. And that cycle was intense and that cycle was very gnarly because Saturn's at its exaltation in Libra. So relationships are a center focal point right now of understanding where your destiny is going to go. And it's going to be chaotic this week with Uranus turning around and turning finally stationary direct, while a lunar eclipse is going in Cancer, while it's opposing Saturn and Pluto, while Venus is in Aquarius this week still. It's like trying to find where all the dots and all the connections are with people. I mean, this is going to be a what the heck with people all over the place, like blah, and then we come into Saturn Pluto, which now we move into this new 30 plus year cycle of a Saturn Pluto Capricorn cycle, and the one from 82 and 83, that's close cycle. It's done. It's completed. It's yesterday's news. And so this is where that fear is about, well, how is it going to affect this person? If you want to go into the deepest part of your subconscious, especially because we're dealing with the Sun and Neptune, we're dealing with Saturn and Pluto, we're dealing with the Sun, Mercury on Saturn, Pluto. We're dealing with a lunar eclipse in Cancer, dealing with the roots, the Akashic records of your soul. All of it is going to come up to and lead to one little center point. And that's going to be relationships. And you're going to be like, what? Straight up, relationships. And it's that focal point. I've been saying this thing for so long. I've had to put it in magazines. I've had to do special videos. I've had to come out on fucking television shows. I've had to do everything I can to get this fucking message out to people, to let you all know that it's so simple. Yet it's not the most simple, because the most complicated place in our life is Libra. Because why do you think the Sun is at its fall position there? Because we have to weigh out. And more importantly, we feel guilty, or we feel shame, or we feel like we've done something wrong. And that's what's holding you back. Because Capricorn's different. You know what Capricorn says? I'm playing by the rules, and I'm getting to where I need to go in my life. And I'm making an execution by a decision, not execution by, I'm going to cut your head off, although some people do that in Capricorn shit. We just saw an execution. But there's this whole taking cardinal action, and this cardinal action is intense because it defines your life. And it will be old chapters of the old story. Like I put in a post on Instagram last week, like an old Iowa CD player where I used to push the tape deck to fucking record what was on fucking K-Rock. No, that song, it's not on CD yet. Put it, you know. Are you going to continue in those old vibes? It's a very intense moment. We're already seeing it build up. I mean, this week just alone, there's so much astrology, but the main things are these main points. And when you're in between eclipses already, like we are, and you have Uranus, the last planet that's retrograde, turning direct while the lunar eclipse happens. I mean, you just can't make that shit up. And it is a revolution for your life. It's a liberation to a better life. But it comes to that focal point of where you root yourself in the karmic relationship situations we've all had to go through in our lives. Because it's relationships that are even why we're on this planet. Without relationships, without people, would you really want to just go live in a bunker by yourself and wait till it was safe to come out just to be alone? I mean, even Tom Hanks, Wilson, right? He had to have Wilson. Even Forrest Gump had to run down the road, and guess what? People started to run with him. So if you're so afraid that you're going to be all alone through all this, there's nothing more scary of being alone, not because of going on the greatest quest of your life that you're called for, and also not being afraid of your own beliefs or religious beliefs or anything like that, to the true calling of who you are in yourself, because that's a relationship too. That relationship with yourself, that relationship with religion right now, that relationship with belief systems. I just got emails this weekend that blew my mind. I can't even believe it's out there. There's websites now of Christian people that are like creating websites that are about like converting New Age people to Christianity, and they like sent me like a full-blown, like if they were FBI investigating me, like, you can call this woman, she fucking, here's her number, here's her email address, get out now. Get out of astrology now. And then I'm getting fucking phone calls and people leaving voicemails in here using all of the shit I've ever said as an astrologer out there to try and fucking put me down as like, this motherfucker shouldn't be an astrologer out there. And you know what? I know my relationship with astrology. I know my relationship with my beliefs and my true knowing. And I ain't gonna fucking stop my quest for that because I am not a life that came down here to follow that. But when it comes to you and your life, where are you holding yourself? Because what is Capricorn is the ultimate block. You know, some guys would call that cock block. But, you know, it's one of those moments where the blocks are so big and you have to still stay on the trail. And it's hard. It's hard. It's not an easy time. But I will say that it's a time that you have to truly 100% be honest with yourself. Because that's what Saturn and Pluto demand. And with Mercury going to be with the sun during a lunar eclipse in opposition to the moon, right? That's our emotions in our environment and our mind at battle with themselves. So it's like we're in a battle between where we're at mentally and emotionally and questioning things so much. Questioning our path, questioning where we're going to find comfort. It's almost like, you know, trying to tell if we were to all go be like time travelers and go back to the time where there used to be, I don't know, Cro-Magnon, you know, I don't know, Flintstone times. And I was about to tell them in a cave, like, hey, come out, like there's this really cool village, or it's like Encino Man. I don't know if anybody remembers that. You know, it's like Brendan Fraser comes out, like, and he enjoys life and he finds a way to integrate into society. It's almost like this, like, if I were to go back and tell somebody, like, there's another world out there. It's a lot more comfortable than where you're at right now. But there's that old, like, no, this is comfortable and I'm not fucking moving in that kind of space, right? Like, because I'm afraid, I'm blocking myself of what I know that would be better, but I'm too timid, I'm too scared, I'm weak. And there can't be that being afraid of stepping 100% in, because with Mercury being the neutral planet that switches from a benefic to a malefic, when it conjuncts with Saturn, Pluto, and the Sun at the same time, it's trying to negotiate, or at least, am I going all malefic here with Saturn and Pluto? You know, Vedic astrology or even other, you know, Western astrologers also believe that the sun is a malefic sometimes. Although I've always looked at it as it can be malefic or benefic. I mean, the sun is the giver of life and it also can do detrimental damage to this planet, right? So it's like Mercury's having a hard time here. Mercury is the ruler of astrology, and Mercury in Hermes is the ruler of the messenger. And there's a message. This message is coming in hard and intense because we'll always be able to look back forever as astrologers or as people out there that follow astrology and look back and go, on January 12th of 2020, Mercury, Saturn, and Pluto and the Sun all met up. So it's not like it was like when we look back at the 80s and 82 and 83 and we look at this Saturn and Pluto conjunction that happened in Libra, you know, it's not like it had so much of this at the exact same moment with an eclipse happening right at the day and a half before. In the home sign of the moon, Cancer. And with Uranus turning direct in between all that stuff, right? Like, to a better life. That's what's going forward for 30 plus years. The vibrations you're feeling right now. The vibrations of whether or not you are going to fall victim and fall into the fear of the world collapsing. That's because you're not on solid ground emotionally. You're not on solid ground on where you're supposed to be. Wherever that fear is coming from in your life, that means that is a rickety space, and those floorboards are about to drop on you. And this is where you must make a choice to migrate to an emotional place that you know is where you're being called towards. This is a calling from God. It is a messenger from God that is coming down. And you can't play in this environment, in this game, in this reality anymore like it's some little video game anymore. Like, I can just sit on the couch next to this horrible fucking relationship, or I can still be friends with this person that's fucking shooting this shit up their arm every day and fucking me over. It's just not going to work out that way anymore. I can't deal with these people that throw all their shit on you anymore. You can't deal with anybody anymore in your life or any situation in your life that you are emotionally succumb to that is not positive for you, that is not taking you to the greatest, most beautiful place of your life. It is just not going to happen anymore. And if you want to try and go against the wind, go against the current, you will not make it to where you want to go, because Capricorn is the conservative. It means that it takes its time. It slowly walks the trail. It doesn't run a marathon. It barely jogs it, let alone runs, to have enough energy to make it to the top, to make it to where you need to go. But if you're going to use all your energy at the beginning and go, oh, don't worry, I'm going to just stay in this horrible situation in my life, and that can go in any direction. It's Capricorn. It's where your roads are leading. I'm just going to stay here. I'm not going to move. I'm just going to stay here. Well, guess what that's going to do? You're going to just have this whole entire resistance against you. You're going to be not comfortable because you're already holding on to a situation that you can't deal with. And then the universe right now is you could just go see, just feel the energy, just go look around the world, go talk to people and what they're feeling. Why are you blocking your own emotional truth? Why are you blocking the world that you want to feel? Or you're going to have to realize that you are where you're at, and it's minor blocks, like 2 hours of trying to get this motherfucker to live stream. And I don't even know if it is live streaming right now. Are we? I guess we still are. So it's like, there's going to be blocks. But this is where Mercury has to define what is the block. Is this block happening because it's not aligned to my destiny? Or am I blocking myself from where I really want to go? And you have to be honest with yourself, because there was me, just 2 hours ago being like, you know what? Maybe God doesn't want me to do this shit no more. And I actually just sat back, and instead of losing it in that way, I was just like, it's probably stupid I said that. Because there's an inner knowing, I know this is the path. And you know what? This thing is not a place of negative resistance. It's nothing but love. It's nothing but continue to grow in my life into beauty. But the things in my life that I've had to go through in the last, and I'm just sharing my own experience, I'm trying to give this to you all. I mean, anything that was not in alignment got taken out of my life. Or, it was not condoning my positive road. It was not aiming to a place that was going to reach this place. And I think with Mars and Sag, you have to realize that with this moon that's going to be not only in Cancer, of course, when it does the eclipse on Friday, but it's going to be in Leo during this time. That emotionally, unless you're fired up and you're in love and you have that full love and that full happiness going, there is no way through this thing. You cannot just sit in Capricorn land of rules, because remember, the South Node is in Capricorn during all this, and it's with Jupiter, and to this just belief system that this is just all going to work because you're playing the game and you're just playing what everybody's done for the last fucking 500 years. Or if you want to go to the last time that Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter were in the same side of Capricorn with a node, oh my gosh, 1282 through 1284. So if you really want to just play this 800-year rule game, like, you know what? People have been doing this for 800 years. I'm just going to sit in this horrible, shitty thing and block myself of what I really want because I feel guilty about the truth. Because Saturn and Pluto, and I've said this before, it looks directly at you, and now it's got Mercury and it's got the sun on top. So this ain't fucking around, and Saturn and Pluto never met. for the last 500 years in Capricorn. So we've been talking about it. We've been talking a lot about it, but we haven't actually showed up and seen it. And I've always did, and I will do the visual for you before we do these charts. I literally will show you what it is. Saturn and Pluto look directly at you and go, what the fuck are you doing on this planet? And if you're not going to be here, then why are you here? And it will pull you. And now you got the sun blasting that, and you got Mercury, the messenger, so it's screaming it like me right now. I'm very mercurial, by the way. And I'm very sun. I'm the Leo rising. So guess what? Bam! It's not like it's just like Saturn Pluto. It's like Saturn Pluto with Saturn in its home sign with Pluto fucking dead conjunct it with the sun and Mercury all like bam! Right after a fucking eclipse, literally a day and a half, and Uranus turned direct. Wham! Connecting, and whether or not you're going to live in the better life, whether or not you're going to own your own shit, whether or not you're going to know your value. If you don't know your value, then you're not going to make it through this shit. You're going to live not in hell. You're not going to fucking die. This is not going to fucking be the end of the world. The biggest end of the world is you being alone in a place where you are looking at your life and you fucking hate it. Because you're too scared to change it. You're too scared to move forward. You're too scared to own it. You're too scared to own that shit in your heart. And if you can't do that shit, why even be here? That's the ultimate highest vibration truth in the world. Because what? I can't do that for me. Yeah. Like this world has become everybody gets training wheels. Well, there's no more training wheels. When I was a kid and I played baseball, there was no tie. That other team won, or my team won. I even learned that in chess club when I was a kid. I had to beat that other person in the fucking in the whole entire, tournament. And then I had to go play the other kid, and I had to play the other kid until I got to the top and won that fucking tournament, you know what I mean? That's Capricorn. And if we're going to use chess as an example, because Capricorn is chess, are you really willing to sacrifice your queen? Are you really ready to sacrifice the most important pieces on the board? Because you're just lackadaisical about it? Like, you know what? Who cares? It's just a game. It's life. I know we have to enjoy life, but guess what? We're in a world now where there is going to be 8 billion people soon on the planet. 8 billion. As you can see with Uranus and Taurus, when it turns on, go watch World War II. And I'm not trying to scare people about world wars. I'm just saying, go watch and understand 1934 through 1945. Just go watch the changeover from Uranus and Taurus into Uranus and Gemini. Just go watch that. Go watch World War II in color that is on Netflix right now. I dare you. Watch the buildup. Watch the way that countries all changed. This world is going to be fucking wild. And if you're not in alignment purely with the relationship, not only in physical relationships, but the relationship with you and God, the relationships with you and your destiny, and the relationships, more importantly, with realizing that this life is beautiful, and you have that major choice right now, and for some people it is fucking massive pressure because you haven't made that choice yet, or you're still blocking yourself from it. Because when this all ends by the end of this week and we come into Monday, we got Jupiter Pluto still. We got Jupiter Saturn. We're not even, this is just the bottom layer of where the root is that grows your destiny. And if you're going to have a bad root, that tree is not going to grow long, because not only the nodes, but with the eclipse cycle and with all these planets in Cancer, Capricorn, this is the tree of life. And you know what? All this Capricorn's trying to be the budding, And of course, Cancer is the root. And I think that this is a moment in your life where you have to realize it's like, here you are trying to sustain that house plant without watering it, and you walk by it every day and go, it looks good today. I'm too busy. I got something to do. But you're not going to tend to it. It's not going to go anywhere. And it's going to die. And then you're going to feel guilt and shame and all that shit. But the truth is that you chose that you did not want to water that plant, and you shouldn't feel guilty about that. Because that's just the truth. You did not want to water it. You thought other things were more important. So I'm trying to use a really weird analogy to show you that there's something in your life that you don't want to tend to too much. You just tend only when it's fucking last minute. The last thing in my life I would do in my life with my cats is be like, you know what? Don't eat for fucking 8 days. You know what I mean? Like, bleh. My poor cats would hate me. I love my cats with all my heart. Well, that's the way that I come about astrology with the collective. Like, there's no way in my life I could just not show up every day and show up every week. And when there is a moment like this, when it's the most extreme moment in life, give it this content away for fucking free. When that's what, you know, the app, that's what pays for all this stuff to even do this. And it's like, you know what? There's just no question about those things. There's no question anymore with Neptune here, trying to remind you to be compassionate to yourself and to others, but also what choices they're going to make in your life. Against you or not against you. And you got to just go with where this is all going to go. Because at the end of the day, we're on a crazy pirate ship. Or are we on the spiritual ship that is truly willing to take the decisions to where we know emotionally we must go, to the pilgrimage of our life, to the true place of providence in our life, to the true place that is calling us, to the true relationships that are calling us, to the true place in our life that we have to own. And with Mercury on top of Saturn, Pluto, and the Sun, I'm just going to say this last thing. If you can't even speak your truth, you can't show your truth, you can't talk about it, you can't be about it, you can't express about it, I was just going to say good luck, but I was going to say that how well do you think this is going to go past this point? You're going to feel the red line so extreme that if you don't make a change, not only will it feel like bankruptcy of the soul, but it'll feel like you were literally lost your whole entire understanding of why you're here on the planet. And it's a vortex that pulls you into a dark hole because you know you're afraid to just step forward into what is true. And you're holding on to something that's not good. And Uranus and Taurus is not here to hold on to fucking junk. Uranus and Taurus is not a gypsy. Gypsy world doesn't do well right now with Uranus and Taurus because it has to learn it can't carry the trunk with it full of all of its old shit all the time and shit that it's so attached to but it really doesn't need. Let's look at the charts. Hello, everybody. Oh, yeah. We'll fix this camera here in a second. Well, you know, it's interesting. I've been talking about this week for a long time. And it's very difficult because I want to, you know what, I'm going to be honest with you all. I do not want to sit here and give you all the astrology like everybody's trying to tell me to do it. You need to be a lot more calm. You need to be a lot more sweet or nice about it. It's like I fucking came here to be a loud truth screamer. I did not come down here to be that other person out there that's already doing that like everybody else. I did not come down here to be an AI bot of astrology for you. I'm sure your Patterns astrology app and fucking CoStar app are not screaming at you. They give you one line and have a nice day. So I do this because I care, and I say it this way because I care, because if you can't see that this is about, I guess the only God-given reason I was born a double Leo is to just give you some sort of hope and scream like the sun of brightness of the truth. Because and to let you know I love you all and there's love everywhere, and this is just like, as a Leo looks at it, it's like, I cannot believe people stay in stuff that gets rid of their regal self, their true self, and stay in shitty places. Because Capricorn, believe it or not, even though Leo and Capricorn don't really get along, but they're both going to have to with the sun in Capricorn during the Saturn Pluto conjunction with Mercury and the moon in Leo. There's something to say about this. These two signs, even though they might be enemies, are the two signs that rule kingdoms and know how to win. And I know that triggers people. People hate Trump right now. People hate all this shit. And it's like there's something to say about that the astrology has been matching what's been coming out of the mouthpiece of so many things in the world. You do have to put yourself into a place where you have to win. That's what sucks about Capricorn. It's like, and I will use the analogy one more time, like baseball kids fucking being taught that everything's a tie now. I'm sorry, it's not a tie. And it's like the universe speaks to us of what's going on. Okay? Whatever is going on in the reality that you're tripping out on television right now or whatever is exactly what the planets are playing out. And it's how you take them. And if you're triggered by all that shit and you're terrified by it, it's like, wow. Like, you have to realize that there's obviously so much space for you to put your energy into fear because you haven't put any of that space into the happiness of the truth of your life and where you want to go. And this is what's going to be hard. I'm going to show you guys tonight a chart that I did of the Helio chart that'll blow your mind. But before we do that, we'll come here to Tuesday where the extremes already happen. And people have been wanting me to address what I feel about what's going on with, of course, the Iran situation and the war and stuff. I will cover a little bit of that here. Are we good or do I have to Oh, okay. Huh? Oh, we good. So January 7th, 2020. Gosh, it's so weird to even look at that date. Look at this, all right, folks? This South Node of Jupiter, okay? This is a very intense transit, one, because Jupiter in the South Node, whenever the South Node is with a planet, okay, it's going to play that planet's energy out like a fucking instrument. And so it's playing Jupiter and Capricorn, this kind of only positive outlook if you've reached a certain space, and there's also Jupiter's at its fall position. So it's like, I don't see any positive. So it's like, I feel like bad luck. Bad luck. So a good example is when like the South Node last year in the eclipse in July of 27th of 2018 was in Aquarius. The moon was in Aquarius with Mars retrograde on the South Node. You gotta remember that Mars retrograde on the South Node, everybody feels like they came into a situation they can't fix it. They're a loser. Like, I'm a loser. I chose the wrong thing. My identity, I'm fighting the wrong battle. Or 2016 during the election that everybody's fucking so freaked out about is it this side, is it that side? Well, South Node Neptune. I mean, come on, South Node of Pisces, Neptune. It played the confusion, the delusion, and who's telling the truth and who's not. And oh my God. I mean, this isn't all the talk I've been doing for fucking a decade. So with Jupiter and the South Node together, guess what? It's playing all these major, look out, whoa, it's extreme, and it's belief systems. This is a war of belief. There's also a war over control and who is bigger and badder. Jupiter is the old ruler of the king, or Zeus, right? Who's Zeus in the world? Who's a bigger Zeus than the other Zeus? And it's in Capricorn, so it's like, well, who's got control of what more? But it's playing the tune. But again, we're things get put way bigger and one thing I will say about Jupiter is it promises more than it delivers, okay? So like you're not going to see it go as crazy as big as you really think it is. It's the Saturn Pluto shit that's way more real. Right? Cuz this not only has this not happened in 500 years, which is kind of gnarly to actually think about, right? 500. But you have to remember that right now, we have Mars here at 3 degrees. Mars is semi-squaring over to the sun, okay? So during this whole freak out about what's going on in the war and in your life right now, we're trying to understand and have courage, but the sun is in Capricorn where it's like, hold on, Mars and Sag, like, I know you want to go do all this stuff, but it's like, there's this kink in the hose, and this kink in the hose is also going to be an aspect of Saturn Pluto. It's like there is so much in our deep, deep, deep passion to go figure things out and go explore, but it's like there's all these blocks that you're having to check. And there's all these systems and make sure that, am I making the right move? And so that's what's bringing this huge hesitation, the huge blocks. And at the same time with the South Node and Jupiter, it is overblowing things way out of proportion, but there is also the need to experience out, South Node, out of belief systems that are not working anymore, out of situations that are not taking you to where you need to go anymore that you believed did. Like, oh, I believed that I was going to go this direction with this person or this job or this situation, and it's not. And it's like, don't keep being in the delusion anymore that that's going to work out. You keep promising or you keep believing. It's like somebody is like, I remember I used to sit by my email before I became the Leo King and I was in between jobs and shit, and I used to sit there and I'd apply on Monster or Craigslist for a job, and I would just sit there and just believe that the job of my life was gonna fucking just show up. Just believed, like, yep, it'll show up. No, did not. And that was hard. And I'm born with Jupiter in Capricorn. And I had I had the eclipse on it, and I had Jupiter return. So, it's reminding me of all the places to where all the false promises outside, or that we're going to take care of me, don't come true. Because Jupiter in Capricorn is when you decide to explore a bigger authority in yourself, is when you get paid. That's it. That's the only way you get paid by Jupiter. Jupiter loves to pay and loves to give. It's the higher benefic planet. But it's not going to give you shit if you cannot be willing to open yourself up to whatever you feel called towards, because we got that Neptune aspect, right? That's in Pisces. And that's at its dignity. That's at its home sign, right? That's dignified. And here's Saturn dignified, right? There's nothing else dignified. Nowhere. The moon will be, but we're not there yet. But Jupiter is starting to make its sextile over as well. Jupiter and Neptune are two huge planets. Huge. Gas giants. So, you got to remember that this calling is super clear. The sun at 17, even though every Neptune transit is going to have, even if it is positive, some sort of uncertainty. With Mercury, there's a lot of uncertainty in the air, but there's also a lot of, like, if you tap deep into your soul, it's like, is it really going to be that bad? Probably not. But there's areas in your life where you know it'll go really bad, if you continue to contain yourself in a place where you're just waiting on somebody else to give you that inner authority, or you hope somebody will give you inner authority. No, you are the one with inner authority. You are the one that has to step up with authority, and that's what Saturn and Pluto want as well. That is the transformational process here of I am taking control of my life, not by taking control, but by taking control of the inner authority within myself to just make a choice and to trust the call. This is the call I'm making. I'm making this choice, I'm going this direction. And with Venus here at 23 degrees, okay, it's really just kind of out there. And Venus already is out there in Aquarius. It's just out there. It's just sitting like out there. It's not making any major aspects. It's making a semi-square, but it's not like making any major aspects. So Venus is just kind of drifting off in outer space here. And so it feels like when it comes to relationships and everything, it's like, am I just dealing with a bunch of aliens? Am I just dealing with a bunch of like people that are not really, connected? But you got to be able to reach into that human level and connect on a human level and be like, hey, we're cool. That's a typical Venus Aquarian thing. Hey, we're cool. Are we cool? I mean, even the whole Iran thing today with America, it was interesting to see Iran said, we're just doing we're defending ourselves using Article 51 of the UN code. And at the bottom, we will not do anything if you do not do anything back. Are you cool, guys? We just did back whatever you did to us. And then, of course, that's a whole debate. But it's that was the choice they made. That's what it's done now. Now USA has to make that choice, and that's gnarly, especially with all these planets and all this eclipse shit. And of course, America's a fucking Cancer, so it's fucking intense. And it's about the relationships for America because of all these planets in Capricorn. There's no denying that America was born in July of 1776. Whether you want to call it the 2nd, the 4th, whatever you want to fucking call it. It doesn't matter what time. That's what's beautiful about Western solar astrology, is that Cancers are dealing with the biggest, Cancer risings, Cancer Venuses, Cancer moons are dealing with the most major relationship decisions in the whole entire world. And that's what Cancer is, and for America, that's our sign. And with Venus and Aquarius, it's okay, we are all well, who's on the spaceship with me? And where do I feel real connection? Or where do I not? Or why does it feel disconnected, even though I feel so connected? Because you got to make a choice, or other people got to make a choice. And this is where you're going to have to realize that some people that you thought were going to be there and make a choice are not maybe going to make the choice. And you can't sit there and be like, fuck, I made the wrong choice by choosing that. It's no, you made a choice. If that choice did not show up for you, then that's going to be the road that goes forward, and it'll bring you beauty and everything. You just got to stay on that path. You got to be real. And this is where nobody can keep looking in other directions and getting distracted and, well, I made a bad choice. It's no, you made a choice. Fucking keep going. But the more you're sitting away from choice, of course no choice is going to show up or nothing's going to happen. You're just sitting in fucking limbo. You're going to just sit there and play the fucking chess game and just be like, you know what, I'm not fucking, the time is clicking. Man, I couldn't stand that every chess tournament I was in. Just dude, move. I'm one of those fast chess players. Go. But people are running the clock to the last second here. This is where the awakening process had nothing to do with, how much green juice you drank and how much you meditated and all that shit. I mean, that's all very important aspects to keep you in alignment. But the real thing here was about the major choice you're making with your destiny in your life and being aware of galactic and true spiritual consciousness through the time system, which of course in all this community of light workers and all this stuff, it's always been about there's no time. Yeah, I know there is no fucking time. But there is a spiritual time. There is karmic times. There is dharma. There is moments in life where this reality was preset for us to make sure that we were on the train tracks, that the universe and the source and God, everything made sure that we went on, and we chose to be on that alignment. And you have to put yourself on that train right now. You must get on that train. There's so much fear, though, that's unnecessary, unwarranted. Now, the moon in Gemini is causing a lot of disruption of what is it, where is it going with a Venus in Aquarius, and it's not connected yet. But we're going to see that here on Wednesday. But it is the quincunx that we are seeing between the moon all the way to all this stuff. Mercury, Sun, Saturn, Pluto. So we're not only getting the quincunx right now here on Tuesday night into Wednesday, we are then getting the opposition that is going to be happening of course, with the lunar eclipse. So it's like we're getting a little premonition here of how intense the eclipse is, just on Tuesday. That's just like a premonition. So as we move to Wednesday on January 8th, now we're going to see the moon in Gemini exactly in quincunx to Saturn and Pluto, okay? So it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard emotional choices to understand. This is at 11:38 a.m. Pacific, 2:38 p.m. Eastern, and then it will trine over to Venus after the hard quincunx. So it's like, what choices are you making in your life, and where are you at a space to where, you know, you're curious emotionally about what's going on, or you need to communicate about what your emotions are, and you got to feel them. But are you willing to make a choice, or are you trying to block it? It's like everybody's coming up with an excuse in life right now to block what they want to feel. I mean, this is where North Node in Cancer, Rahu is just like, this is fucked up, man. And you know what? All the Vedics give Rahu such a bad name that he's so delusional. Sure, I'm in my Rahu moon phase. People will say I'm delusional. But you know what? Rahu knows what it wants. Ketu does not. Ketu gets lost in I'm safe here when it's not. And people are safe in traditions and being more, I'm safe because I have some sort of control in my life. I have control about the time when it's going to show up. I have control about the time of my life when I can do this. I have control, I have control, I have control, I have control. It's like, look at that south node of Jupiter. That motherfucker is exact on this day. Look at Mercury and the Sun, and with Mercury it's 1652, and Mercury's moving fast. It's making that sextile over to Neptune. So it's like, gosh, you see the window into the universe. You see through the prism. You see the prism of light of what you know you've always like wanted to make go forward in your life. What, are you doing anything about it? Here's Mars at 3 degrees. Oh, there's that semi-square. Venus making that semi-square to Mercury. It's like, gosh, this thing is insane. It's like all the Mars and Venus are cock-blocked, right? So here we are trying to deal with relationships at the end of this transit for the last 37 years, but it's like a cock-block situation because it's like people are stuck in control, or like, oh, you know what? Like I have to do this way. It's like, make a decision in your life. It's not easy. I've had to make very hard decisions in my life. Recently in life. And you know what? The more the decision's done, then you move on and you deal with the whatever happened. But this is Jupiter and Capricorn. Like this is where the only way you're going to see a blossoming of anything in your life is by making a decision. That's it. Period. And you know what? Semi-squares to me are just fucking insecure minor blocks. Minor. They look way more crazier than they are. And I think that the hardest part here on January 8th is the fact that Uranus, of course, is stationary now. So that means it's not moving, stationary retrograde, so it's getting ready for its direct motion. And that's causing this huge beehive energy that's like ready to turn on. It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or something, like the laser beam, you know, like, you know, like what the fuck is about to happen? And that's in the background of all this noise. Remember, Uranus is invisible to us by the naked eye. We need a telescope. So there is this like invisible electricity turning on, but it's not. And it's like, especially in Taurus, it's like this old television zenith from like 1952 that's like, you know, like getting plugged into a plug-in today. And you're like, is this thing gonna work? Like, let's see. Like, you know, like what the fuck? You know, like, fucking extreme. But it's like, are you really trying to like plug in something old that didn't work in the past and you know it's not gonna work in today's future, in today's world? Is that what you're trying to do? That's a good question, especially as this is making the semi-square to Neptune. So here's Mercury, all right, making a great aspect to Neptune. Oh no, but Neptune and Uranus, this is that weird shit in the media and all that stuff and the craziness in the media and that craziness also in your soul about connecting to things that are of the past that are not going to work for your future and continuing to do that. Yeah, that's going to make you feel like you're spiritually crazy. Ah! I don't feel spiritually crazy doing this. I just come across that way. But it's like, that's what you're going to see is the answer to all of your questions about your life right now. Where am I feeling spiritually crazy? Oh, right here. Yeah, why am I going backwards? Why am I trying to make this fucking weird ass television work now? That'd be literally, and I don't know why my grandfather's coming through a lot today. And I think I brought him up on live yesterday, but it was like, you know what? My grandfather did TVs for 50 years. And he told Zenith and all the old TVs and the 50s and 60s, 70s, 80s, and then he got, after 50 years in the 90s, he got out. But, I mean, would you really try and hook up your fucking Netflix to a fucking 1950s Zenith television, like in black and white? Really? Do you think they make plugs for that? No. Do you think your Apple TV 4K HDMI is going to plug into the thing? No. It's not. And what is Uranus rule? People. It's like, this Neptune semi-square is like, Neptune's just laughing at Uranus. Like, I don't know what else to tell you, brother. Like, I'm just trying to show you the delusions of you trying to fucking fix that thing right now. These are where you get rid of broken things of your life. You get rid of projects. People that are projects, people that constantly let you down, people that don't show up in their authority, people that don't show up with their word, people that don't show up with their throat chakra, people that don't show up in their manifesting, don't show up fully. That rings true to all this stuff about relationships. Now, shit, I'm going to be ready, okay? From here on out, these next charts are not easy to go through, and they're fucking going to be real shit, I'm going to say. Some of it, I'm going to warn, trigger warning, because this is not me triggering you. This is you being triggered by truth. Putting that out there. Okay, so January 9th, 2020, last day of Uranus retrograde. So truly stationary retrograde. That crazy electric energy is building up, ready to go havoc. And it will either take you to the most amazing heaven ever. That's what Uranus rules, is heaven. All dogs go to heaven? Well, sure. You go to heaven right now by doing Taurus things. Knowing your worth, knowing your value, and knowing what you want, and knowing if that's going to show up and you're going to connect with it, and it's going to connect back. And if it doesn't connect back, that's what this weekend's going to be about. Okay? But here we are. Shit gets intense because now we're within a 3-degree orb. Okay? I've always said this to y'all in astrology. I would say the general consensus is 3 degrees, we start to feel the energy. The sun is approaching Saturn and Pluto. This is already a negative and a very difficult transit by itself. By itself. Yet, as this approach is happening, here's Mercury as well, trying to catch up to the sun. Mercury's really fast, but it's so weird to see Mercury and the sun like really trying to come together. It's very weird that the way that the rotation is working around this energy, and maybe it's a gravitational thing, I don't know. Maybe there is something to say about this heavy weight of Jupiter on the south node. I don't know. There's a lot of heavy weight here. And it's extremely heavy. Jupiter is the biggest planet and the zodiac, okay? So it's heavy and it's on the south node. This is heavy. And then Saturn and Pluto is extremely heavy. It's just like, this is pressure. But it's all building up with Mercury trying to catch up to understand what the fuck's going on. And Mercury's like, I am about to go turn into a malefic? So I'm trying to think of a good example of like when Mercury, remember, is like this neutral energy. And it's like, I guess it would be like an intern at Apple. It's a good example. Like, what are you here? I don't know. I'm just here. Like, what do you want me to do? It's like, people will take advantage of that. Like, come here. Go fucking clean all of my fucking bathroom shit. It's like, Who's this guy? Well, Saturn and Pluto are literally sitting on a couch together like, what can we do with this motherfucker? You know what I mean? So that's where Mercury can turn benefic. If it's with Jupiter and Venus, it's like, oh, like, you know, it reminds me of like the three fairy godmothers in like, you know, Sleeping Beauty. Like, oh, like, well, like get her to work, but give her a wand and give him a wand and give him all this stuff. And okay. Well, Mercury's like, holy shit, I'm about to go meet up with a bunch of fucking thugs. Right? Or it's like the kid on the street that hangs out with the gangsters and turns into a gang member because he thinks that's cool. It's like peer pressure. Peer pressure to do bad things. Latarian Milton. Go search up Latarian Milton. There's going to be some Latarian Miltons out there in the world. Sad part, there already is and already was. But this is extreme because this is going to be where the north node of the moon are exact at 8. So the moon's going to oppose Jupiter. And this can be a little bit positive, I feel, just because, you know, a moon opposed Jupiter can be a little bit over positive, or it could be the opposite, just to completely deflated. Like, I don't believe in anything going good. So we're going to see people kind of at a big clash coming into this eclipse, right? Because it's already eclipse energy. The moon's actually crossing the intersection point of the node on the ecliptic, where if the sun and moon meet, that's where the eclipse happens, right? So the moon's on Rahu, kind of like, Rahu's like, I want to feel good. It's like, well, I know I want to feel good too, but like, what do you want me to do? Like, the moon doesn't know what to do with Rahu, and Rahu's very forceful, like I'm hungry, I need food, and my food is emotion and comfort and feeling. But it's in opposition to Jupiter, that's this heavy weight on Ketu. Ketu's like, well, I mean, I'm trying to understand like how to get to this bigger place. It's like, make a choice. That's what the moon's screaming, like, but Jupiter's kind of like, I mean, I know shit, but I'm not really good with authority. I mean, you know, like you always see Sagittarius back away from taking the big position, you know? It's like, no, I know a lot, but I don't know if I really want to be that in control of all that. Like, I want to be free. I want to go run around, you know? So that's what's difficult, is this poor moon is trying to get an answer for where the comfort is in life. The Mercury's like, I'm sorry, I'm about to go hang out with thugs. Like, I'm not going to be, I'm just reminding everybody in the zodiac, like, whatever I come out looking like, I'm the pet project of Dr. Evil. And I'm going to become mini-me. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, what? You know what I mean? So, it's like, this is not easy astrology. This is like fucking fucked up. This is a fucked up astrology time. This is the most extreme astrology to ever happen in our lives ever. And this is going to be fucking crazy because where is that comfort? Well, there's a Ceci square from Venus. I mean, you know, I think that there's a lot to say about like connection to people, but detachment. And if you feel detachment, it's like you could feel completely insane. Are you detaching? Or other people detaching? I mean, we're going to all be feeling it from all angles. We're going to be detached from, and we are going to be detaching from others. So this is what makes it all fucked up here, because you got to remember that Saturn and Pluto at 2241 is Pluto. Saturn has not crossed over Pluto yet, and that, I don't care if they're fucking on each other so much that not only is Saturn breathing all over Pluto and it smells what it fucking pissed out. Still not over it yet. Still holding on to that old crazy energy. And it's going to feel like with Uranus spooling up, with the eclipse spooling up, the Earth right in the middle of the sun and the moon, like exact, like, whoa! With Jupiter on the south node, like the fucking, you know, Uncle Jupe is the bad uncle in the back. Like, and when it's in Capricorn, he acts a little bit like the devil. Like, he's like, hey, I know you wanted a beer. I brought you even more than that. You know, I used to do this shit in high school. You know, like, whoa. Who's really giving me the truth? Who's really giving me, are people taking advantage of me? Or, you know, there's a lot of this shit going around. But the only way to see through all this shit is now that Mercury and the Sun and all the Neptune stuff's done, it's like you have an inner knowing. Like, you know that great uncle's gonna go offer you cocaine in the back. You already knew that was gonna come. Why did you go down that road? You already knew this person would disconnect. They're not fucking wanting to show up fully. You already knew this situation was fucked up. Why are you still in it? You already knew. That's why I'm saying, like, why wait till the end of the fucking road to make the choice when it's so fucking precedent that you're like, fuck, or you just give up. This is where people give up. Like, I just don't see, with the moon opposed Jupiter with south node and the moon on the north node, that is gnarly, right? So it's like, bam, that is the exact opposition of the moon and Jupiter on the nodes. And the moon here is the benefic, and so is Jupiter, and they are not doing well. And Venus, unfortunately, is not adding any positivity to the situation at all. It's like, I'm like kind of bugged out. Venus is kind of smart. She's like, this is a fucked up time. I'm out of here. I'm on my spaceship. I'm going to watch what happens on Earth from outside motherfucking space. So that's where people are feeling like hopeless, and then they're turning to these crazy emails like I'm getting probably and being like, well, it really is Revelations. It is the end of the world. We're all going to die. Like, oh my God, of course, when Venus is gone, checked out. Coat check. And then, you know, in Aquarius, Venus is not dumb. She found somebody cool and exciting that she went up in the spaceship with. It's like, you're like, well, why is that happening to me? It's like, well, are you wasting your time on people that don't really want to show up fully? Make decisions? That's easy to fucking tell right now. With Neptune, it's like easy to see through people's shit. You can be a mind reader and a spiritual, like, intuitive in a second. Like, yeah, you're not really gonna show up, are you? Or is this situation fucking ludicrous? It is. I'm not gonna be in this reality anymore. And this is where it's all going down. Because it's right before, the way, it's like a turbo. It's like spooling up a turbo. You always hear the, this is shit. This is not only turbocharged, it's supercharged. And it's fucking got race fuel, and Elon Musk brought the new fucking Tesla, whatever he got, battery fucking pack shit, and throwing that on top. And NASA out of nowhere just shows up and goes, hey, you guys need any rockets? We got a bunch of them that Obama canceled on us. Fucking, okay, yeah, sure. That's how intense this motherfucker is. Now let's get to the eclipse, the biggest. Well, you know what's so crazy? This is not even the biggest part of the whole entire fucking show. And that's what's crazy about this week. So January 10th, 2020. Holy moly. Here we are, lunar eclipse, 11:21 through 23 a.m. Pacific, 2:21 through 23 a.m. or p.m. Eastern. This moon is going to be at 20 degrees of Cancer. This 20 degrees of Cancer will be, of course, in opposition to the sun at 20 degrees with Mercury Cassini. So Mercury's being blown out by the sun. So not only is it neutral, but it's in Capricorn, and Saturn is the dispositor of this. So Mercury is taking on the form, and it's already conjuncting Saturn. Really hard fucking decisions, environments, blocks. And this is where Pluto is trying to, you have to push through these blocks. Pluto does not want to have a block. Remember that Pluto is like, I am going to break through anything. I will penetrate through anything. Saturn's like, I've got the greatest wall up in the world. And so is like, Mercury's like, all I see is a wall. I can't figure this out. And Pluto's like, don't worry. Like, I'm coming here to kaboom this motherfucker, you know? But Saturn, remember, has like this maze, this like grip. It's almost like, you know, it's almost like The Shining, the movie. Like, there's a little bit of that, like, what the fuck is going on in this house? I should have already known. I should have already known when he started screaming, here's Johnny fucking with a fucking axe through the door. And then what do? You run outside, there's a fucking maze? Like, you should have known, there should have been signs all the way for this shit. But this lunar eclipse is going to be like, here we are. Here's Johnny. Oh, and look at that. That south node in Jupiter is conjunct at 8. And 8's really about making choices in your life. And then, I got to say, so if we look at this, Mars is so involved, whether you want to see it or not. Mars is going to sessi quadrant to the moon. Mars is going to semi-square the Sun, Mercury, Saturn, Pluto conjunction. So your courage to believe is what is completely your biggest fear. It isn't fear itself. It's the fear that something positive will go on by you just owning that, the experience. Being willing to go on the experience that you want to go on in your life. Being willing to continue to own the space of a broader, beautiful future. The light workers are being called to own the belief in a beautiful future right now and hold that space. And also, when it comes to this major emotional time, it's a lunar eclipse in Cancer, for God's sake. It's heavy emotional. It's opposing Saturn. Hardest transit in the world to go through. Personally, I feel is Saturn a moon opposition or conjunction, especially the Vedic astrologers. When you go through your Sati, Shakti, it's like, that's not fun. That's because that's when Saturn's coming to your moon. They believe it's not just on the conjunction of the moon. There's a buildup process for 7 years. The sign before, the sign of, and the sign after. And it's maximum coming into the sign of your moon. And it's like you gotta fucking have authority over emotion. Right? You gotta learn how to control your emotions. Not suppress them, but put yourself in a position to where emotionally you gotta be real with yourself and you gotta grow up emotionally. This is about major grown up, and you have to, with Mercury in opposition to the moon, realize that the environment you're in, if it's not emotionally comfortable, and I'm not saying because you feel uncomfortable because you're nervous to go into something that you really want to, because that's the thing, that's the trick. It's like, you want to go into something, I don't feel good, I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? I'll admit, there must have been 3 or 4 jobs in my life that I applied to and I didn't feel comfortable and I fucking bailed on the first 2 days or whatever. We all done that shit. Don't try and tell me you haven't. Are you going to do that to the most greatest things that are in your life, though, right now? That you know? You just got to get over this hump? And just do it? That's what this is about, just doing it. Saturn, Pluto, it's like, gosh, it brings up Civil War shit, especially with Neptune where it's at right now, and the buildup of the Civil War during this time in the 1850s, like where Neptune was. It's like, when somebody got a fucking leg chopped, or when somebody got gangrene, or they just chopped the leg off. The arm off. It's like, is this all turned gangrene in your life? And you're trying to be like, I am so comfortable here. I can't deal with it. Like, this is the way to nurse yourself is to take the medicine. Like, take the medicine of your life right now. Don't block the medicine of your life. Because this is about cancer. So we do need to take care of ourselves. We need to feel better, but we also do not keep ingesting the toxic, negative, dark energy that's we're looking directly at with this eclipse. With Saturn and Pluto looking directly at us in opposition with the moon. Like, it's like, all Saturn and Pluto are trying to say, like, take authority, please, or it's like, take authority, because you are just not listening. You're like a little kid, and Saturn's ready to eat you. Kronos, like, I'm ready to eat you, and it's got Pluto on top. That's kind of like Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man on acid. Like, let's eat it. Blah, 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 blah. It's like mini-me that Dr. Evil has getting ready to be eaten by, what was his name? The guy who shits fucking on Austin Powers, fucking fat bastard. So now the other thing too is Venus is not adding anything great. So Mars and Venus, this is a very weird chart, I'm going to be honest with you, is making its sexy quadrant over to the moon. Well, actually, I think it's making it to the North Node, but still, that's adding to a weird part of this chart. It's like this really weird knowing of what you're going to connect to, but you know what? There's this disconnect because you have to disconnect from something to connect from something. There's a positive and there's a negative on a battery. And you know, I see so many people, and I'll admit I've done it for years, but ever since I started racing jet skis, I'm not afraid of batteries. I mean, but you know, it's like whenever you take apart a car battery, you see people freak the fuck out, right? Like, I gotta fucking take this off, and am I gonna shock myself? Well, yeah, with Uranus here, it might feel like it's shocking. Shocking, not like shock, but like shocking. Like, I'm really doing this? Like, ah! And it's like, okay, pull the battery out, give me the new battery. Okay, put it back on. Oh shit, my car starts. Fuck, thank God. Really? That's all I had to do? And I was so much in fear. Because with South Node of Jupiter, it's pumping like, you know how, I guess SSRIs just, you know, reuptake, right? They block the serotonin from being reuptaked, which means that like they block the serotonin from being taken out of your system in your brain. They just allow the serotonin to just keep going, right? So it's like, you're doing that with fear. Like, I don't want the fear to come through and out. I'm just gonna keep taking my, I don't know, Fear-a-Pro. That's my medicine, Fear-a-Pro. I'm just gonna keep eating fear. You got any more Fear-a-Pros? Oh my God. You know, you got any more Fear-a-Pros? You know, it's like, trying to think of the other one out there if I can, but you get what I mean. Fear pills. I'm gonna take more fear pills. Do you have any more fear pills? Like, you know, like I can't take apart this battery, so give me another fear pill. That's not gonna have you change the battery. That's like gonna take you farther away from the battery to change. Like, oh no, like, it's like you take the fear pill. It's like, are you better now? It's like, no, who the fuck are you? And then running away, that's like, give me another fear pill. It's like, I'm all the way fucking 800 yards away. It's like, how am I gonna give it to you? It's like, I don't know, send in fucking Uber Eats to me. Fucking, it's like, and then it's like it's like, are you okay now? Who the fuck are you? And it's like, oh my God, now you're so far away from changing the one thing because you just keep eating this fear. And that's what the Saturn Pluto will do, is just, the monster of fear will just, you just can't deal with it. And I think that we have to have courage and we have to be willing to connect and disconnect too. That's the whole thing with Uranus turning online during this eclipse, right after it hits too. Uranus does turn direct. And this battery, which is a horrible picture, and I know there's some people out there that have never changed the battery in their car. They're like, I go to fucking Pep Boys and shit. They do that. But you've changed the battery in your remote. You've changed the battery, you know, in your life. Okay? You know, and they got the terminals. And you're like so afraid because if you touch it, there's sparks everywhere. Well, it's like this battery. I don't know if you know, but battery has battery acid. Right? And they have terminals, and if you don't clean them, if you don't take care of them, some batteries are not good for us. It's like we're projecting and taking energy off things that are not good for us, so we have to let go. We got to disconnect it out. And that fucking battery acid is bad. It's corrosive. And instead of, I'm not going to deal with this, I'm going to just push this aside and hope that the battery will go away or it'll corrode itself. No. Sorry. It's not going to just go away. You got to confront it, you got to face it, and you got to fucking rip those things off. It's not that hard. Be grounded, right? That's how you want to be grounded. You want to understand the grounding too process. Once you fucking take off that fucking grounding, okay, whew, take off the plus, get that battery out. Now when you put the battery on, you know, it's like, what do I do? It's like you literally have to understand that it's all based on the grounding. So even if you have the plus pulled in, it's not until you put that ground on that's going to shock. Or if you have the ground in, you put the plus on, it'll shock. It's going to shock you either way. You just got to know in your head, are you picking a positive or are you picking a negative here? Are you grounding in negative, corrosive energy? And this lunar eclipse is going to exactly square Juno. And that I think that's the hardest part of this lunar eclipse. With Mercury square it, with Saturn and Pluto squaring it. So, this is the ruler of marriage, especially in the sign of Libra. And this might sound cryptic, and I'm not going to afraid to say it because I've been saying it for fucking years. There's a lot of marriages out there. There's a lot of unions. There's a lot of partnerships that the story is over. I said it all in the mag last year. I've been saying it a long time, done special videos on it. There's just something that Juno is like, I am not going to deal with this shit anymore. This is not my destiny. It's like, we are on new trails. We are on completely new time sets. It's like literally the universe is coming in like, here you go, brand new everything. Like all those, Encyclopedia Britannicas are finally leaving the shelf. There's Wikipedia. You know what I mean? But you're like so married to the Britannicas, it's like, oh my gosh. It's like, are you going to follow them all the way into the fucking closet? And you'll pull them out and they're not updated? You're like, yeah, that's Encyclopedia Britannica 1990. I fucking love that one. It's like, yeah, it still was the USSR. Hasn't been updated. Or you're like a Thomas guide. They change streets all the time now. It's like fucking, imagine right now being like, hey you, before MapQuest in 2004, you print out directions and you go around like, I got the directions. I don't have to use the Thomas guide. I got like this. Like, good luck using a Thomas guide in today's world. Like, you'd be like, what the fuck? Where the fuck am I going, man? There's a lot of pressure on this idea of what marriage and partnership is. But it has to be connected with your destiny, and it has to be fully emotionally there, and it has to be in full alignment with it. That's hardcore. And let's just add Mars to the mix, making a semi-square to Juno. Out of all this, Chiron is all really by itself. Right? Even though, yeah, Mars is trining it, but it's already past trine, it's already post. So Chiron's the one that is all alone. And I think that it likes to be alone, but in Aries, it's like, I feel alone and I have to do all this crazy shit. It's like, yeah, we all have to deal with shit alone to make these crazy choices in our life. But there's something beautiful about that in life when we just find it within ourselves and we heal from that instead of it being like, like I have to have my hand held through this. It's like, maybe that's there, but it's like the hand-holding part for just like, it's not like you're going to get your hand held while you're taking a shit in the middle of doing things. It's not like you're going to call movers and while you're in the middle of moving, they're going to go like, do you need me to wipe your butt too while you're in the bathroom? Like, no. So this lunar eclipse is gnarly. I mean, there's so much to it with Uranus coming direct and stationary, and that's what's weirder. If Uranus was direct right before the eclipse, I think it'd be a different feeling. But this eclipse is the setting of the old stories because Saturn and Pluto are only 9 degrees apart. 9 minutes apart. Which remember in the way that geometry works is it's minutes or it's degrees, minutes, and seconds. We're 9 minutes, so it's like so close within the degree, but not. It's the old story still. And then on top of that, we have Uranus still retrograde, stationary, going direct right after the eclipse, but not. So in my all honest truth, the reason why I take this shit so seriously is because I really, and I mean, I'm just going to say this, and this is where the trigger is. I don't think a lot of people are gonna do it. I don't think a lot of people are really going to step up and make the change. I mean, I think that's like the deepest, hardest truth. Is I really do not think so. I think that people are going to be too emotionally upset. I think that they're going to be too scared, and I believe that they're going to buy the fear thing. And I'm not trying to push fear. I'm just giving you truth right now. And I think that people don't have the balls. I don't think so. I think that people are going to say, I'm going to stay in the old stories and continue. And everybody's wondering why the world's not going to change. Well, guess what? A lunar eclipse right with Uranus that's still retrograde, fucking literally 9 minutes before. Because an eclipse, this is the end of the eclipses until the summer. So guess what? The moment right before, like the last slide in the Kodak machine, then people bailed out. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stay in the old story. I really wish I could move just, gosh, couldn't it just, but no, the universe is perfect the way it is. So I have compassion for people who don't choose to make the choices and stay in fucking, and I said earlier that it won't be hell, but I think that the greatest hell in the world is being stuck in a story in a situation that you fucking hate. And especially because relationships are a major centric part of all this, because the eclipse is happening before Saturn Pluto, again, it's like I'm obsessed with trying to save something. Like I'm gonna save somebody, or I'm gonna nurture myself through attachment to something, and I want control. And it's fear of expanding. Oh, is it right here? Oh, well, I'll take... we are switching microphones here. We're almost done. We got a couple more days left. Want me to turn this mic off? I'll mute it. Huh? All right. So, man, I'm taking my time a little bit with all this shit because it's like, what's coming up with all these eclipses and stuff is so extreme that I feel like it's a moment for us all to just, one, I'm sorry that I'm telling people that I don't know if they're going to make it, and maybe I'm subliminally doing that to help make sure that you all do. Two, like, this is fucking the hardest shit. But it is, you know what? I'm never going, I'm never going to say anything that's like, I'm never going to say that again or something like that. But I'm going to be honest with you. The grass is fucking greener on the other side. I'm sorry to say. I'm sorry to say that. But I'm not sorry. Like, it's true. It's true. That's what Uranus is in Taurus. But it doesn't look that way. If you're not connected and you're in a self-righteous kind of power position, control position, and you're not coming from true love, like Hitler with Uranus and Taurus was a Taurus. A little different story, okay? Like, he used his ego and his drive for being able to have a chalet to go do art and to go have his mistress. That's really what he fucking did, and his hate because of what happened to him in World War I, right? So, but the grass is greener really on the other side in this moment. This is different. This is not the 30s. But the grass is greener on the other side to where you are actually fully immersing yourself into feeling and emotion, and you're not afraid of that shit, and you're not going to be afraid of that to what you know you're feeling called towards in your life. If you know you're feeling called towards it in your life, why would you even dare yourself to hold yourself back from that? Like, that is the greatest fear-based shit on the planet, is your own fear, not the collective fear. Your own fear transmutes fear into the collective because you are too afraid to emotionally put yourself to where the real comfort is, and that's taking care of yourself, right? Or are you taking care of your insecurities? You're taking care of your fears. You're taking care of your control factor. No, I got control, so I'm good. The control is the biggest illusion ever because you don't have control. Because actually, if you had control, your life would go exactly the way you want to, and you wouldn't even be in a position like you're in right now, where you have to make a hard choice in your life like this about making sure you're truly in alignment with what you feel you're supposed to do. And I know that it's going to feel like it comes from multiple angles, and what does that look like? Because this is a very confusing eclipse. Especially opposing Saturn, Pluto, and opposing Mercury. And it's got Mars in a Ceci quadrant. It's got so much that is just, what the fuck? And it's got Neptune, though. It does have Neptune. So that Neptune aspect is that you are psychic, that you are aware, that you are not crazy, and that you feel and you have emotions, and you need to follow those and not follow the emotions of the fear, especially about confronting these Capricornian situations that are like, you need to make a choice right now. Like, you need to make a choice. It's like, I will give the job to someone else, or I will give somebody else the better position, or if you don't enter the race, you're never going to win, or if you don't enter this, you're not going to do. And if it's like you make that choice not to do it and you want to sit back, I'm not telling you that you did anything wrong. All I'm saying is that, you should go watch my Era of Providence, and I will just give away a moment of it. It's my new video that's out about 2020 and beyond. Like, this is a fucking quest, and there's no coincidence that literally 400 years ago was the Mayflower. Exactly, 400 years ago, 1620. And they had to leave because of fucking religious persecution because of King James. Like, oh no, we're going to bring back the old ways. And it's like, people had to fucking make a hard choice. Are you getting on this boat or not? And it wasn't a lot of people. To a new world. You got to look at it like this. And you got to look at it like, you know what? Those people really didn't know each other that great. But they all had a common theme. And I didn't say this in my video, but the common theme was they all knew that they were on the same quest for the same thing. And that's what you got to align with right now with this Venus in Aquarius. All right. And, Lilith is in sextile in Pisces to Jupiter in the South Node, and it is trining the North Node in Cancer. So, it's like, don't feel guilty or shame for following your intuition. And those stuck in contracts that they feel guilty about leaving, Juno never left Jupiter. Lilith did. That's why Lilith got a bad name, but I think Lilith had more experiences of what she's wanted in her life than Juno. Juno stayed with Jupiter even when he fucking farted in her face, you know what I mean? It was bad Uncle Jupe. January 11th. Now, even though this is not being talked about in the astrology community, like you'll hear the 10th, you'll hear the 12th, but they won't talk about the 11th. There's a lot going on the 11th. So let's take a look. Well, one is we're finally going to see this Mercury here with the sun at 21. And here they are moving on to the Saturn Pluto. So we're at this major crossroad here into this. And look at Saturn and Pluto here, 44 minutes, seconds, and 40 minutes right there. They're 4 minutes apart. 4 minutes. So close. And Jupiter finally is off the South Node. Okay? We have the moon in Leo. Square Uranus, which has been direct now. Oh, man. Yeah, you're only going to feel happy unless you really did make a leap, a quantum leap into a better life, into more quality, into something that feels better, into something that actually is something that is actually going to bring you. Leo, Taurus, and I'm sitting on this couch as a Leo, fucking double Leo, the fucking moon and Taurus. Like, I'm going to tell you, like, I've made it through my life really well by always picking the best choice of my life. And if I saw a choice that was, like hard, but I knew it would be better for me, I made it. And then it was like, oh, I went through like a moment of hell. And then it was just like, oh, thank God. You know what I mean? Like, oh. But a moon in Leo does not feel good with Uranus and Taurus in square when Uranus and Taurus is like, uh-oh, I didn't fucking leap myself forward into something better. I fucking stayed in something shitty. So there's like a massive, massive hangover, and it's not a hangover that's going to be fun. It's going to be a heart-wrenching hangover not because of what you chose to leave, but because of what you chose not to step into. Because, let's go back to that Saturn Pluto. Oh, they're 4 minutes apart. They're not conjunct yet. They don't conjunct till the 12th. So, oh my gosh, we're almost there, but no, we're not. We're not there. No. That's tough. That's a tough one. I don't know how to really say it any better to you all with that one. Then, because I don't have a lot of time because my iPad's about to die, is that moon is going to be ready for not only it's trine to Mars, so it's like, yeah, the adventure of our lives is starting to come into the Saturn Pluto to face the gates that are opening or closing on your life because of what, the lunar eclipse will shift you or not, and you have the confidence to go, and you can do this. It's really interesting to me, though, that as the closing out of Saturn and Pluto happened, Mercury's going to come on top of Saturn. So then it's like, well, it doesn't really feel maybe as exciting as I thought. And this is the hard part of Capricorn. It's the delusion. It's like, you've got to remember to go with your emotion. And with the moon in Leo, it's like, why can't it be fun? If you're not expressing your emotions fully and you're blocking and you're cock blocking yourself, you're not going to have good feelings. You're not going to know how to feel good. You're going to just be looking at repetitive patterns where you are afraid to step into your value and your worth and have something that you want and do something about it and let go of things that don't matter to you anymore. If this does not matter to you, why do you fucking do it? Let it go. It's just it's trash. I carry a shit ton of shit with me. If you always see me move out of my car or to my apartment or wherever, I have bags of shit on me. But it's all stuff I need to use. But trust me, it gains trash. And I have to clean that thing out every week because I don't want to be just carrying a bunch of shit around with me. But God, it's not that hard. Even though this seems extremely hard. It's the illusion of fear. And if you're going to buy that illusion of fear, I don't know what to tell you. So here it is, July 11th, the day we've all been talking about. It's finally here. This weekend. Oh, sorry. The 12th. Let me get there. Oh, did I not load? Oh, there's the 12th. Yeah. All right. 22, 22, 22. The sun is going to conjunct Saturn and Pluto. And look at Saturn. It has made its conjunction point earlier that morning, and it will cross over Pluto. So now we are technically, I'm showing you post-conjunction to show you that after post-conjunction, the sun and Pluto conjunct, the sun and Saturn conjunct, and Saturn passes Pluto. We have not seen Saturn pass Pluto for a long fucking time, over 30 years. Okay? The old man passed Pluto with a cane on. You know what I mean? I made it pass. It's like the KFC guy, fucking Colonel Sanders made it. I made it pass. It's like, oh my God, in Capricorn. So now this is the new world. And Venus at 28 degrees, it is offline. Look at that. Not one aspect. You can see that here in Astrology. I love how they'll do this. Look at not one aspect of Venus. It's all alone. You might feel like you're in a weird, out of nowhere place. Venus is about to come into where it loves to be in Pisces, exalted position. So just hold the phone here and don't back out. That's the other thing is people are going to jump in or say I did it, and then they're like, I don't feel exactly. It's like, yeah, okay, this is gnarly. You're going to have to be patient for a moment and allow it to just sit in and allow it to feel and to try and find connection to it all and find with Venus or the moon in Leo to find that happiness and love. The moon is making gnarly quincunxes. It's going to quincunx over to Neptune. That's a lot of confusion, but also it could be a total fairy exciting adventure. The moon is going to quincunx over to the sun, Pluto, and Saturn later that day on the 12th, exactly, and Mercury. So it's going to be really weird. But that, again, that's going to be emotions on whether or not you feel like you went to the calling and you went to that. That's another calling. These are both callings. Will you hand me, Craig, my charger? I think this thing's going to die, and I want to show them the helio chart. Sorry, doggy. Isn't Craig the best, everyone? All right. This side. Oh, yeah, we're good. We good. All right. So, and you know what? I'm going to show you all this day on the 12th by the hour. So I'm going to show you guys the approach. So we wake up, well, for me on the West Coast, but depends on where you're in the world. But on the 12th, look at that 22:46. There's Saturn on the other side of Pluto. Has been for a long time. You move it an hour. You move it an hour. Saturn passes Pluto here at 9 in the morning. Okay. And sun will be at 21, then come to 22, and then watch this day unfold. As we end this day, bang, at 5:41 p.m. Pacific, 8:41 p.m. Eastern, the moon in Leo at 22 degrees is going to exactly quincunx Mercury, Saturn, Pluto, and the sun. The sun is going to envelop all this energy. It's going to be intense. Venus is going to be at 29 degrees, and the moon's getting ready to oppose that as they're switching into signs. This is massive. This is an architect chart. This is like this is God. This is God talking. This is God moving the world into a whole new direction, and that happiness will be only if you did follow your true heart fully, and not a heart where you're taking care of things that are not of the heart. Like this whole idea of what love is and compassion and shit is being redefined all by Saturn in the moral codes. The moral codes is to get the destiny to do the big things, and also why live. That actually a lot of the moral codes in life, to be honest with you, these written morals have been written by people that were all to scare people to not live into their truth. That's the truth. That's why the South Node is on Jupiter while this whole time. I'm going to be very blunt and honest with you. It's fucking religions. This whole thing fucking that's even going on about Iran and America is about Christianity and Islam. Let's not be fucking retarded here. And it doesn't matter if which side's right or wrong, because both sides are wrong for even fucking going against the other side. That's the fucking truth. I'm sorry to say this whole coexist thing. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that one. I kind of feel like, it's like, okay, like that's easy to say, but try telling that to a billion Christians, another billion people that believe in Islam, and fucking tell them all to do that. Like who's gonna do that with some sort of control, or fear. You know what I mean? Like this is where it's like people are going to have to go through and learn their own choices that they make about these beliefs and not knowing their inner authority with God directly. Instead of always through, someone. But through connecting to the intuition and through the beautiful universal elements that have been with us through ancient times when we were not in the age of Pisces, where we were not cloaked. And I think that this is a very big testament to the understanding of the age of Pisces, is that this is, of course, going to feel chaotic at the end of the age as we are entering into the age of Aquarius. Is people are going to realize that the end of the world is the end of religion. because it's religion that is actually causing all of the disruption on the planet. It is the one that is causing all the crazy shit. Straight up. It's cloaked and looking like it's so good and perfect, and there's a lot of great people that serve religion that are good people. But if you get down to the bottom of it, there's always going to be a sediment or a testament that this person is better than that person, or this person is going to hell, or that person's not fucking on the right thing, because it's in all the text. It says it all the way. And if you go talk to a Christian, you go talk to anybody from Islam, guess what? I don't care how liberal each side is. There is always going to be like, well, then you're not really getting to fucking this heaven unless you're with JC, or unless you're really going this way in Islam and you're not doing your pilgrimage and you're not doing, like you're not going, like, you know what I mean? So, but I think in your own life, so let's say you're not into that, you're not even buying a religion anymore. Have you created a relationship that you've created that's your Messiah? And that Messiah is not fucking doing anything good to you and turning you into somebody that you don't want to be? What are you doing? And that you feel like if you leave the congregation of that relationship that you are fucking going to hell? This is Venus and Aquarius, people. Venus and Aquarius is not listening to the religions. Venus and Aquarius is going like, this makes no logical sense and does not make sense for my future and my life. What am I doing? It's been a long night. Mercury will leave Saturn and Pluto with the sun and trek forward. But it will have gotten the deepest message of its life in all of Hermes history. Hermes has been through a lot. Mercury's been through a lot. Mercury's been through crazy retrogrades. It's been through eclipses before. It's been through it all. That's why it is in alchemy. It is in Hermetic alchemy practices. It is the center of alchemy. It is the all-knowing. The understanding of the all-seeing eye even comes truly, whether you want to call that Horus, which actually is the understanding of Hermes, true. If you even though they call it the sun god, but it's like the truth actually is always going to get back to Mercury and always to the understanding of seeing both sides and remaining in a neutral position. That no, I'm sorry, that Christianity or Islam is not the way to get there. There is a neutral position. It's like, okay, I heard that. Maybe there's something you take from that, or maybe there's something of that, but there's not an end-all, bend-all belief system. And that's what's hard is Jupiter with the South Node is going to be difficult because it's like the belief systems become like the tyranny of our lives, of whether or not we are going to do something or not, because, oh my gosh, I'm cock-blocked by my beliefs. I'm cock-blocked by my religion. It's like, and then, it's like I'm losing my religion. Like, it's like even Sting, like one of my favorite songs is if I ever lose my faith in you. It's like, why would you lose your faith in humanity or even a person or even the love of your life because of your beliefs or because of a politician or because of a pope or because of some, tyranny like leader in some crazy religion? Like, literally, why would you lose your faith in that beauty of love? Why would you lose that faith in what you know is true and calling you, that God talks to you directly? God talks to you into your true self. And that's Neptune through all this. If anything, Neptune's the only one besides with Uranus, because you have Neptune and Uranus are semi-square. But now all the planets are direct, remember? And so everything is about moving forward, and even Uranus, like, let's go. But it's like, are you going to go and carry the old? This is literally, I'm going to draw it for you, and I know this is a long, deep astrology tonight. We're not doing After Dark tonight because this is a special show tonight for everybody, because I only have one more chart to show you all right? But I'm going to draw this for you all right now. So the best way that I can describe how this is going in the best way possible is, let's see. I just had it in my head and then I lost it because I was thinking, I was all worried about everything. Oh, yeah, Neptune is offering, and then Uranus, everything's moving forward. Oh, this is it. I got it. Ooh, fuck. Okay, here we go. Okay. In the Matrix, in the second one, you see the architect. Okay? And he's like the ruler of the Matrix because he's actually set it all up. Neo shows up to the Matrix and he gets the key finally. And he's like, hey, I'm all excited because I'm figuring out what's going on. And what happens is the architect says you have a choice. In this door, you can recreate humanity and da-da-da-da-da. In this door, you can choose love and save Trinity, but there's no guarantee and you will die and all the humans will die. So he uses fear, like you will die, blah, 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 blah. And then he shows in the background all these clips of Neo the 6 times before, okay, when he made it to this place. So earlier I was talking about a Kodak. I don't know if you remember in Kodak, they used to have slide projectors, and you would put all the slides in a little round thing. And then this thing would be in a projector that would project out the image of the slide onto the wall. And that's how you would look at pictures. Well, the galaxy here is on a 220 million year cycle. We just had December 21st, 2012, 7 years ago. The galactic shift has happened. There's so much that's shifting. The compression of time's all here. Like, this is where you make your call, and it was on the 7th time that Neo chose love. And he did not choose the safe route of protecting humanity and saving them by basically starting the whole entire matrix over, and he gets to choose a couple people that are going to procreate and they can be humans, and the computer system can go create their false reality and harvest humans. He finally made that choice on the 7th time. In numerology, 7 is the spiritual number. He finally made the right spiritual choice. This is where if you choose to go into fear and to security and try and hold, you're just going to go replay this whole Kodak slide of the 6, whether we want to use 6 or 7, or whether we want to use however many lives that you've been under this life, or how many times is this reality and this whole entire universe just replayed. Let's be honest. We've all been in just the cycle of replaying the same shit. I have been here before and told you all this shit before. You have all been sitting here, whoever does watch this and has heard this same message before. Okay? Are you really going to go replay this one to go again? And get to how long? I mean, to human understanding, 220 million years is fucking a lot. But in understanding the way of replaying this whole tape again, it could feel like eternity to get back to this place. And it does feel like eternity. And we feel like what's up ahead is there's nothing. That's what it feels like. You can't even see the future right now. You know why? Because that's what it's finally the choice moment. There's actually a free will choice here. And that's why Capricorn rules time. That's why Pluto on top of Capricorn is changing the ideas of time forever. This is where Mercury is, the ruler of astrology, the ruler of hermetic understanding of everything. Without the mind, without anything, you don't understand your 5 senses. You don't understand this reality. You don't understand shit. It's rewriting the code that you choose. And if you're going to block yourself from that Neptune energy, you're going to block yourself from that 7. You're going to block yourself from that spiritual road. You're going to block yourself from the love and the destiny that you feel in your heart because of some job, some situation, some insecurity, some fear, something because, I'm too busy. I've got this thing that there is something calling you that is calling you more than even that. You got to trust that and you got to go take that on your fucking life because that is what is going to take you to the ultimate place of your whole entire world. Straight up. Or you're going to go replay this whole fucking long-term fucking crazy cycle for the rest of your life. And that rest of your life will then turn into another eternity. Now, I'm going to take a step back on the last slide here. I didn't even do Mondays. I mean, I can't show you it all, but what I did was I pulled the helio chart for the day of the eclipse. And this is what will trip you out the most about it. Okay? On the day of the eclipse, January 10th, 2020, at 11:23 and 11:21, okay? Saturn and Pluto. Saturn passes Pluto at exactly 22:48 and 22:48. So remember, in helioastrology, this is the sun at the center of the chart. So this is the sun. There are no retrogrades, and these are the planets going around the sun. Okay? Ironic that Mercury, remember, 88 days to come around the sun. Mercury comes around the sun every 88 days, so it's really fast. It's exactly with Saturn and Pluto. It's Venus in Aries, 20 degrees, squaring Saturn, Pluto, but it's squaring the lunar eclipse moon on the Earth. This is the Earth and the moon. This is going to be extreme about relationships. It cannot be more clear in the solar system itself. From the solar system spiritual point of view of the sun. The sun's projection of what it's being beamed from God and what it is here to experience and see. And Mars in Scorpio, it's at its major position. And look at Jupiter, it's at 6 of Capricorn, and it's trining Uranus. But it's past the trine now. Uranus is slower than Jupiter. So it's like, it's all coming to this gnarly Venus moment in Aries, which is at detriment. But mainly it's coming to a point in your life to where it is the pressure of choosing to show up for what you really want in your life. And instead of, the pressure that's on making a hard choice and living with what you don't want to live with. And being in a relationship and being in something that makes you feel good that doesn't make you feel good. You will literally, that was the whole carrot that pulled Neo into choosing who he barely knew Trinity. Let's be real. It's not like, she had dreams of him, remember, fucking about being with him and all that shit. It's like, that's the call. That's the end of Saturn, Pluto, and Libra. That's the curtain call, and who you chose. Or who you just didn't choose and opened yourself up to the world to what's next. Or did you cockblock yourself to something that was so beautiful that showed up because you're afraid? And you're projecting all of your insecurities, Uranus and Taurus. I'm going to end it there. I'm going to just show you Monday's chart, and that's it. And on Monday, it is... Monday is the 13th, and the hours... So Monday, if we see Mercury's past the sun's past Saturn and Pluto. Venus comes into Pisces, and welcome to the new world. I just want to say that I love you all very much. I know that this is gnarly information. I hope that you can spread it out there. I appreciate you all being part of High Vibe. We all love you here so much at High Vibe. Being part of the app and getting the daily every day and getting the sun sign horoscopes every week are what keep this show going and keep everybody and giving a message out there to the world and other people to get their message out in this spiritual space. And please check out the video, Era of Providence, which is available on highvibe.tv under the live event section. And I have my talk on there, Jax's talk. We got the Spirit Advisor. We got Stargirl. I did 2 talks with her. We've got so much. Oh, and Dr. Stephen Schwartz's amazing video, and he even does an amazing binaural beat live of what the vibration of Saturn feels like. It's so amazing, and a whole talk too. But I am sending you all my best on this one. I have given you all the data. I have given you everything in your life to make this major call. And I know if you trust your intuition, if you trust and you get rid of these horrible belief systems that have been around for 1,000 years, that literally are not here to provide you the ultimate life. It was about suppression in the Dark Ages. It was about suppression the last time Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter were together in Capricorn. Suppressing the people from living in their happiness, in their truth, and saying that you have to live this way, and you have to be that way, and you have to. And if you are going to do that yourself, I have to do this, or I have some contract, and Juno's in square to all this shit, but Venus is too in the helio, and Venus is in Aquarius, just like zoning out. Like, you know what? It's like you have to bug out and to bug into the real connection. I love you all very much. I'm sending you all my best energy. Highvibe.tv all the way. We will see you tomorrow, of course. And of course, if you're on the app, you can get all the videos every day. We love you very much. Thank you so much for being part of Deep Astrology. Please spread this video as far as wide as you can, and we'll see you on the next Deep Astrology on highvibe.tv. Love you all.